Paris Congresswoman Ilhan Omar facing some significant fallout after making these harsh comments following the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
There is nothing more effed up, than to completely pretend that his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade. These people are full of, and it's important for us to call them out.
Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn took offense, reacting on X, quote, Ilhan shows no remorse in slandering an honorable man who was brutally murdered in cold blood for the entire world to see. As many grieve the loss of a husband, father, and patriotic American, Ilhan has chosen a divisive and dangerous...
The hearing opened under a charged atmosphere as Ilhan Omar prepared to defend herself. The room was split right down the middle, her allies Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, and Rashida Tlaib sat beside her ready for battle, while critics like Nicole Malliotakis and McClain waited for their turn to strike. The camera zoomed in on Ilhan Omar's face calm, but the tension in her eyes told another story. Rose first, her voice trembling with emotion as she accused the House of turning politics into persecution. This isn't about accountability, she declared. This is about silencing a woman who refuses to bow down. Her words sent shockwaves across the chamber, whispers echoing through the room as she sat down defiant. Then came Nicole Malliotakis, walking to the microphone with cold precision. She wasted no time accusing Omar of spreading division and disrespecting American values. You've used your platform not to unite, she said sharply, but to attack the very principles that allow you to serve here. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber, visible unease spreading among Omar's supporters. This wasn't just politics anymore. It was personal. Malliotakis stood firm, her words cutting deep, leaving Omar visibly shaken for the first time since the hearing began.
Gentlemen reserves, the gentlelady from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to use that logic, well, then all those people should have just said sorry and we'd move on, right? But no, we don't do that. And let me tell you, I take a little bit of offense to what the hell is wrong with me. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with me. I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Again, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to hold the Constitution, and it's very simple. We really shouldn't even have this debate. If you break the law and you follow due process, there are consequences to your actions, even if you say sorry. So we can try all of the diversion tactics that we would like. It doesn't change the fact that someone broke the law and that someone should be held accountable. It is disappointing, Mr. Speaker, that their own party can't hold them accountable, that they have such hypocrisy. So with that, I yield 2 minutes to my friend from New York.
Pussy wasted no time firing back with a passionate defense. Her voice trembled with fury as she called the attacks against Ilhan Omar thinly veiled discrimination, warning that history would not be kind to those who used power to silence women of color. Her tone grew stronger with every word, her hand pointing across the chamber. If you truly believe in freedom of speech, she shouted, then stop weaponizing it against your colleagues. The room erupted, cheers and jeers crashing together in a storm of chaos. What began as a hearing had turned into a political battlefield. Then came Lisa McClain, calm, composed, but unrelenting. Taking the floor, she delivered one of the harshest rebukes of the day. Representative Omar, she began, has shown a pattern of anti-American sentiment, and that has no place on key committees. The chamber stiffened as she continued, we can disagree on policy, but not on loyalty to this nation. Her statement drew thunderous applause from her side of the aisle. Omar sat still, blinking rapidly, struggling to hold her composure as the noise filled the room. The tension was thick, suffocating. Every word, every glare carried the weight of a nation divided. This was no longer about politics, it was about identity, loyalty, and the cost of standing your ground under America's harshest spotlight.
Nicole Malliotakis.
Gentlelady is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Is recognized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to the gentlelady from the great state of New York, Nicole Malliotakis.
The gentlewoman from New York is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've heard from my colleagues the reasons why the Representative Omar should be removed from this committee. But I feel like all the reasons have not just yet been stated, which is why I rise to add for the record. We've heard about the comments that were made regarding anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli views, but I rise to add to the record that as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I've sat there and heard the representative actually spew anti-American rhetoric as well. I've been in that committee room where the representative equates Israel and the United States to Hamas and the Taliban. Absolutely unacceptable for a member of that committee. I've also heard the representative equate that it is the United States' fault that there is turmoil in Venezuela. That is not because of the oppressive socialist and communism that has spread throughout Central and South America and Venezuela at the hands of the Maduro and Hugo Chavez regimes. That is unacceptable. And as a New York representative, to hear the representative belittle, to try to diminish the worst terrorist attack on United States soil on September 11, 2001, as some people did something, that is unacceptable as well. And I hold the same standard for this side of the aisle that I do the other. Because when another colleague on my side said something about 9/11, I also voted to have her removed from the Education Committee because I thought that was inappropriate. So I'm being consistent here, and I hope my colleagues will do the same to show that this is about consistency and accountability. Because we should not have an individual with those views on the committee that is tasked with representing our country and our Congress to foreign nations. I yield back.
Then came Rashida Tlaib, her face streaked with tears. Her voice cracked as she rose to defend Ilhan Omar, calling the attacks against her unfair, cruel, and deeply un-American. Through trembling words, she reminded the chamber of everything Omar had endured: the death threats, the hate campaigns, the endless criticism. Yet she never stopped serving with courage. "You don't have to agree with her," Tlaib cried, her voice breaking. "But you must see her humanity." Her words cut through the noise, and for a moment the entire room fell silent. Even some of Omar's harshest critics looked away, unable to meet her eyes. It was a rare moment of honesty, raw, human, and painfully real. When Ilhan Omar finally spoke, her tone was soft but steady. She told her story once more: how she fled war, how she came to America searching for safety, and how she still believed in the nation's promise of equality. "I'm not perfect," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "But I've always fought for what I believe is right." She turned toward Malliotakis and McClain, acknowledging their criticism but rejecting their accusations of disloyalty. "You can disagree with my idea," she said firmly, "but you cannot erase my love for this nation." The chamber fell silent. No applause, no noise. Just the quiet weight of her words hanging in the air. For one fleeting moment, everyone listened.
Thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
Revise my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to congratulate my colleagues on voting to remove Representative Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. The passage of H.R. 76 sends a strong message that we support Israel and the Jewish community. I urge the 118th Congress to now stand together, proudly upholding every single American, no matter race, pedigree, religion, nor creed, as any less American than their neighbor. That Jewish Americans are patriotic Americans, and that we all have a role in fighting bigotry and anti-Semitism in our country. We must make sure that the House of Representatives reflects such principles as a united body. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
But the silence didn't last long. Nicole Malliotakis shot back, her tone sharp and unrelenting. She dismissed Omar's words as too little too late, accusing her of playing the victim. "Patriotism isn't proven in speeches," she said coldly. "It's proven in actions." Her words hit like a strike, reigniting the tension that had barely settled. Omar's composure began to crack, frustration and emotion mixing behind her calm exterior. And Rashida Tlaib leaned in, whispering to her, trying to steady her, but the attacks kept coming. The chamber grew louder by the second, voices clashing, tempers flaring. Cameras captured Omar blinking away tears as chaos erupted on both sides. The debate had turned into an all-out confrontation. Then Oz stood once again, anger flashing in her eyes, her voice cutting through the noise like thunder. "This is not justice," she shouted. "This is a spectacle." Her words exploded across the room. "You're not removing her for misconduct," she continued. "You're removing her because you fear her influence." The audience erupted, cheers, boos, chaos colliding in one deafening storm. Haiti was one of AOC's most emotional and fearless performances, yet defiant, articulate, and unforgettable.
Mr. Speaker, freedom of speech is the beating heart of a democracy. It's the entire reason that this building exists, so that we can talk out our differences. Free societies do not fear free speech, even when that speech is hateful or malignant or stupid. Free societies recognize that the only way to separate fact from fiction, love from hate, truth from lies, wisdom from folly, or good from evil is to put them side by side and to trust the people to know the difference. No central authority must ever be given the power to take this vital freedom away from the people or to punish anyone solely for expressing their opinions. We based our entire form of government on the assumption that when exposed to all sides and all viewpoints, more than half the people are going to get it right more than half the time. This assumption has served us well through the centuries. The left rejects this premise. For many years, leftists have told us that speech is violence and can be answered with violence. This justifies their shouting down opponents and disrupting peaceful assemblies. We've repeatedly watched leftist mobs burn our cities, loot shopkeepers, and assault people on the streets while leftist politicians egg them on. We see the growing physical attacks on law enforcement. The left used the FBI to suppress debate on critical issues ranging from COVID lockdowns to Biden family influence peddling to climate hysteria. It's called for government commissions to regulate it. In Europe, leftist governments now criminalize it. Now, I raise these points because a member of this House recently made some truly vile and despicable remarks about Charlie Kirk after his brutal assassination. Her words should be loudly and universally condemned. Last night on the House floor, a resolution of censure was brought against her in the name of Charlie Kirk to formally punish her for her hateful rhetoric. But what did Charlie Kirk say about...
Moments before the final vote, Lisa McClain stood tall, her tone calm yet firm. "This isn't about silencing Ilhan Omar," she said. "It's about protecting the integrity of this chamber." Her words carried weight but no hate. Across the room, Omar sat with her head bowed, tears slipping down her cheeks. The gavel struck, and with that her removal was sealed. The chamber exploded, applause on one side, outrage on the other. Then Rashida Tlaib rushed to her side, embracing her tightly as cameras flashed. "You can take my seat," Omar whispered, "but not my voice." That image, 3 women standing together, tear-streaked but unbroken, became the headline across the nation. Outside the Capitol, reporters swarmed. She spoke first, her voice steady but shaken. "This wasn't a victory for democracy," she said. "It was a warning." Rashida Tlaib added that truth had once again been replaced by politics. Omar, silent under the cold wind, simply said, "I have no regrets." Her words echoed across every major network that night. Meanwhile, Nicole Malliotakis called the decision a step toward accountability. Supporters praised her. Critics condemned her. Online hashtags like "Stand with Omar" and "Accountability" now burned across social media, a reflection of a nation divided between justice and judgment. Later that evening, Ilhan Omar gave a heartfelt interview. "I wasn't removed for what I did," she said softly. "I was removed for who I am." Her tone was calm, emotional, and resolute, not defiance but grace under fire. Back in Congress, Lisa McClain defended the decision once more. "Politics is emotional," she said, "but emotions don't erase responsibility." OC and Rashida Tlaib fired back online, calling it one of the darkest moments in modern politics. But when Ilhan Omar returned home to cheering supporters, she smiled through tears. "You've shown me what real solidarity means," she said. The hearing had ended, but the debate over what it meant for America had only just begun.